MrBeast is unquestionably one of the most successful YouTubers of all time, but he has had a long journey with many hardships that include people hating on him on Twitter for absolutely ridiculous reasons, to getting his house broken into, resulting in millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin being stolen. MrBeast, also known as Jimmy, created his YouTube channel in 2012, and although most struggles and hardships typically occur at the beginning of a career, they are usually minor and cannot be considered the worst moments. The worst moments happen then when you already have a lot of responsibility and a large audience, which MrBeast currently has with around 150 million subscribers. One of MrBeast's first major difficulties happened when he hosted the event called Finger on the App 2 Challenge. It's called Finger on the App 2 because there used to be a Finger on the App 1, which had predominantly the same gameplay but was way less problematic. The objective was simple. People download the app, wait for MrBeast to announce the official start, and the person who held their finger on the app for the longest time would win $100,000, which was 4 times the price of the previous Finger on the App challenge. The only major problem in the Finger on the App 1 challenge was that people would troll iPhone users by making them say "Hey Siri" live on stream.
Oh, hey Siri, I appreciate the... Oh my god!
I don't know what that means.
Bruh. Are you fucking kidding me?
The whole premise of this event was to include as many people as possible in a MrBeast challenge. But compared to the last challenge, this is where the first problem starts. Finger on the App 1 had around 1.1 million active players at the beginning, while Finger on the App 2 only had 100,000 more. While this might seem like a lot, you need to consider that MrBeast quadrupled the prize money, but the player base only increased by around 10%. But that was only the beginning of the problems Jimmy had faced. Some people quit their jobs because they were fully committed into this challenge, but not everything went particularly to plan. The game started to glitch out, and many people started sporadically losing lives, for which they paid real money for. Beast Games, the producer of the game, didn't seem to accept that it was their fault though, and would make many players very mad by blaming it on the devices of the users rather than saying that the app was poorly programmed. Buying extra lives didn't only glitch out by simply losing lives. Sometimes, Beast Games either took more money from the bank account than the players actually paid for, or they never actually appeared in the game, possibly from the delay in the App Store. MrBeast, however, was always ready to offer refunds to those that had issues and even gave away $60,000 more to the top 10, which wasn't even intended beforehand. From this disastrous event, MrBeast has probably learned a lot about managing the development of a game, and generally a lot about administration as a whole. But this might have not been as frustrating as all the times when MrBeast spent more than $10,000 on a single video, but then decided not to upload the final product, simply because he couldn't accept how the video turned out. It is already extremely frustrating when you work hours on a project, and then one random mistake leads to all of your work getting deleted and inaccessible. Imagine a situation like this, but at the scale of a MrBeast challenge, where he for example once made a challenge called Last to Leave Glue Wins a Cash Prize, but the canister in which the participants would be staying in randomly bust open, causing many liters of glue to escape, ultimately making a complete mess that took 2 weeks to clean up. If MrBeast decides to scrap a video, it doesn't even need to be completely horrible. Just one bad camera shot and it is enough for Jimmy to decide that the video is not good enough to be uploaded on the MrBeast channel. We don't know how MrBeast emotionally deals with a video failing in the heat of a moment, but when reacting to the videos he couldn't upload, he seems to be in a happy mood and doesn't feel much regret. However, him scrapping his videos and then deciding to react and explain them left a long-lasting mark on his viewers to show how much he actually cares about them.
This is like a month's worth of work too that just never saw the light of day. Like when I say I only want to upload good videos, like I genuinely mean it. I don't care if we spend a month on a video, if we spent over $100,000, like if it's not entertaining and I don't think you guys will like it, I will put it in this PNG of a dump.
MrBeast was able to turn an extremely negative and mentally destructive situation into a very positive situation that led to building an insane amount of trust with his audience. This literally shows how much this man cares about our entertainment. You are such a great person. This kind of person should succeed. You are truly a man who has no choice but to succeed. I respect you. Thank you for always showing us perfect videos. I love how much Jimmy does to keep us entertained. This becomes more clear after looking at the insanely positive like to dislike ratio. MrBeast today doesn't seem to scrap videos anymore. Probably because now the budget has increased a lot and he has learned much about which ideas to implement and which ideas not. Compared to losing tens of thousands of dollars, the next moments might seem even worse. Back when Jimmy was not in a position to invest extreme amounts of money into his videos, he instead invested extreme amounts of time to produce a unique video. For example, Jimmy made a video where he said Logan Paul 100,000 times. He watched Every Day Bro for 10 hours straight, read an entire dictionary, watched Dance Till You're Dead for 10 hours, and many more cases like these. But now combine investing extreme amounts of money with investing extreme amounts of time, and you get modern, unique MrBeast challenges, in which you, for example, spend 50 hours buried alive, 24 hours in the desert, or 50 hours in Antarctica. You can see in all of those videos how MrBeast was literally in physical and emotional pain, but it all paid off at the end though, since it led to a killer video that would gain hundreds of millions of views. These insane challenge videos can't be labeled as moments that were detrimental to Jimmy's career. However, in the moment, it may have been one of the worst situations Jimmy has brought himself into in terms of physically and emotionally demanding. His challenges were so unbearable that he has also failed a challenge where he didn't try to eat food for 30 days. Not only was Jimmy extremely exhausted throughout this entire video, but Jimmy might have felt remorse after not being able to finish this challenge. On the positive side though, this video could show the viewer the human side of Jimmy and build trust with the audience, since a person faking their challenges wouldn't show themselves failing one. But then there were all the many moments when MrBeast was under fire on Twitter for things that were either completely unjustifiable to be under fire for, or it was something extremely minor. As for example, when MrBeast cured the blindness of 1,000 people all over the world. This started when a Twitter user published a tweet saying, "There is something so demonic about this and I can't even articulate what it is." But people were rather mad at the missing healthcare system in the USA and not MrBeast. However, some people mix that up. When I give thousands people a 10-minute surgery that cures their blindness, my YouTube video goes viral. But when I ask why a 10-minute surgery isn't provided to anyone who needs it, they call me a communist. MrBeast also received hate on Twitter for Jake the Viking leaving the MrBeast crew, since people really loved him and his personality. Many people don't realize though that Jimmy and Jake still have a connection with each other, since a recent YouTube short from Jake shows that Jimmy sent him a box of Feastables chocolate.
We got a Feastables box! Let's go, Jim! Honestly, never thought I'd get one of these, but you know what? Let's open it up and see what's inside.
The incident where Jake decided to leave the MrBeast crew is pretty old though, since Jake gave an explanation to his leaving back in April of 2020. But the hate Jimmy received for not bringing Jake back to the group snapped back again after Chris publicly announced that he was undergoing hormone replacement therapy and labeled himself as gender non-confirming. Can Jake the Viking come back and replace Chris, please? Jake the Viking wouldn't have let this happen. But people wanting Jake the Viking back was not the only part the MrBeast crew got hate for. I talked about this more in detail in one of my recent videos. But people started hating Jimmy for Chris's transitioning and would threaten to unsubscribe from Jimmy since they were discontented with Chris's new appearance and his apparent impact on his family. Kick out Chris Tyson or I'll have unsubscribe you at MrBeast. Never thought I'd say that I would unsubscribe from at MrBeast ... However, it's hard to say if this had an extremely negative impact on MrBeast's channel. Since the day Chris announced his hormone therapy, MrBeast's subscriber count skyrocketed, with him gaining around 1 million subscribers every single day. Speaking of subscribers, it would be a great time to subscribe right now so we can hit our goal of 100k before the end of 2023. But these situations were all nothing compared to the moment when an intruder broke into MrBeast's home and stole most of his extremely valuable goods, like his designer clothes, TV, and even his blanket. According to MrBeast, that wasn't even the worst part, since the robber also stole MrBeast's laptop, which had literally a Bitcoin key written on it that was worth millions.
I also bought designer clothes at one point, which is funny because right when I was like, this is fucking dumb, which I said this on Rogan, someone broke in and stole all my clothes. And when I like opened my closet after I got robbed, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I was gonna get rid of them. I was like, I don't think that's a good bang for his buck when he sells those.
Yeah.
Like, I had some Supreme shirts.
That's some Blame Miz shit right there. You're like, yo, the candlesticks, take them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, and he also took my Bitcoin at the time too, but he's a fucking idiot. He didn't move. So I had like a laptop like this, and like right here was just written my private key. 'Cause I don't know, I'm a fucking moron. It just said Bitcoin private key.
Come on,
so
Jimmy.
he steals my laptop, and I was like, I thought that's why my house got robbed. Like the second I saw that front door kicked in, I was like, oh, they just stole my Bitcoin. Because I also just recently tweeted about it. I had it also a screenshot of it. I pulled my private key up there, and I'm like crying. I'm like, fuck, it's not gonna be there. It literally says Bitcoin private key on my laptop he stole. And I'm like, dude, they just took it. There was like $2 million, which was every dollar to my name at that point. Because
I like took like a couple, like $100,000 one month, put in Bitcoin. Bitcoin like skyrocketed. And then I was literally just about to sell it and fund a bunch of videos. And then that shit went down and I'm like crying as I'm loading it up and my heart is pounding. I'm like, please, it's there. It's all there. And I moved it real quick and like that robber's a fucking moron.
As MrBeast states himself, he was kind of glad that the robber took his designer clothes, since that would remove Jimmy from getting obsessively attached to material goods, which he felt was extremely pointless to have.
So you don't like go crazy? You don't have a Ferrari or anything nuts?
No. I think living your life chasing like a nicer car and a bigger and bigger box to live in is kind of like a dumb way to go about life. I actually, funny enough, I lived in like a super below average home and I kind of learned why famous people don't live in below average homes, because someone broke in, stole everything I owned. So I had to get a little nicer house for security reasons. But before I was robbed, I mean, like my place is like a little duplex, $700 a month. You get a roommate's $360 split.
Right.
Yeah, and just drive a normal car.
Jimmy did not only experience the lack of meaning and insignificance of designer clothes, but he also learned the importance of having a good shelter in order to keep oneself safe. "I never lose. I either win or learn" is a quote by Nelson Mandela that perfectly explains the mentality of MrBeast that led him to massive success. So maybe it's time for you as the viewer of this video to implement this philosophy to your life as well. Next time something bad happens or is happening right now, think of this quote. And instead of only focusing on the negative side of a situation, look at the lessons that can be learned from the wrongdoing. In the book Meditations, Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," which perfectly articulates the value of positive and optimistic thoughts that didn't only lead Jimmy to insane success, but might also lead you to a blissful and prosperous life. I hope you got at least a little bit encouraged from this video, but encouraged also happens to be the name of the channel this YouTube video was uploaded to. So double check the subscribe button so we can hit the goal of 100k by the end of this year.